I've been thinking a lot about freedom and how a lot of people are feeling that freedom is being taken away from us. And I've been pondering that for a while because I felt that too. I felt restrictions on what you can and can't do if you're not playing by this rule or playing by that rule. And so I'm sitting by the lake here in Interlaken, thinking that this is probably the most beautiful place you can feel freedom. The stunning scenery, there's a lake lapping beside me. There's very little sounds, just occasional bird. And in this space there should be a feeling of freedom, and for me there is. And that's the freedom that I get from being in nature. But I think the freedom that we're all feeling has been curtailed is because we think of freedom as outside of ourselves. We think of freedom is something that is governed by what goes on outside. In other words, someone else can curtail our freedom. But I think this time is about learning some really fundamental truths about ourselves. And freedom, actually, like happiness, is an inside job. Freedom is purely internal. Because we can be free, we think we're free, but we're actually not yet free because we're not free internally. I've been thinking in the last 18 months that this time has been about being present. We are being asked to be more present. We can't know the future. We definitely don't need to ponder on the past. And it's been constantly about be present, be present. And it is. And I think that's still incredibly important, particularly for people who are in fear or who are in regret of the past. Fear of the future and regret of the past are the two things that stop us being present. But I think presence actually is only part of the puzzle. And I was reminded of this just a couple of days ago when somehow at the top of my reading list on my Kindle was a book called The Surrender Experiment by Michael A. Singer. And this is a book I bought and read many, many years ago. So what it was doing on the top of my list, only goodness knows. Anyway, Michael talks about the surrendering to the flow of life. And it just suddenly reminded me when I saw the title of the book that this is actually the biggest thing right now. This is the surrender that we are having to learn to deal with and be in surrender, surrendering to the flow of life. Because if we don't, it doesn't matter how present we are. If we're still angry about something, or if we're still fighting something, and it doesn't have to be externally fighting or angry, it just has to be internal. That voice inside that just doesn't want to stop, that doesn't want to give up, that doesn't want to surrender. That voice holds us and creates what we don't want every single time. But surrender to the flow means that whatever we're doing, whatever is happening externally but also internally, we just notice it and surrender to it and live with the consequence of whatever it is, rather than fighting. So surrender and presence go hand in hand. And out of that comes an internal freedom. Because when we are surrendered and no longer in the fight, when we are surrendered and completely at ease with whatever is happening around us, and we're watching in that witness state of presence what is going on around us and within us, in that is incredible freedom. So I leave you with that thought. How surrendered are you to what is going on in your world right now? How at peace, how in presence, how much are you witnessing yourself, your thoughts, your internal dialogue, your battles? And can you surrender all of that and be in peace with what is happening? And watch it with a quiet amusement, because in there is freedom.